what name on this board do you think might have some sneaky value?
Well, I thought Josh Allen and I talking about the quarterbacks previously, so I would say James Cook. If the Bills could get out of this game, then they could go. I think this Jaguars team is a real challenge for this Bills offense, but if you could get out of this wild card round with the Bills, right, so you'll still have James Cook and hopefully somehow avoid the Houston Texans because they'll get after you. The Bills should be able to beat anybody despite their bad run defense. So I would like James Cook going here, the NFL's leading rusher.
Let's pull that board back up again.
Yeah.
And obviously
Travis
the top
Etienne
of it, Kyren Williams,
is interesting
Saquon Barkley, and you brought up Travis Etienne, who was number 5.
Yeah, I mean, so Kyren Williams at 1, obviously, same argument with Stafford. And again, they have second best Super Bowl odds, but they're playing this weekend, whereas the Broncos and Seahawks are not. But since week 9, Etienne's been a top 10 fantasy running back. He's averaging over 18 touches per game. He's tied for the 4th most red zone touches this season. They use him a lot. They use him when they get in close. I like the matchup against Buffalo here. Obviously, they need to get out of this round. But I think the Jaguars have a better chance than people are giving them against Buffalo.
I think so too. That's why when I say James Cook, it's like, hey, Bills got to win this game.
Yeah.
Like if I'm a Bills fan, I'm worried about this Jaguars team than I am the Patriots, the Broncos. I think he could handle the Broncos. They did last year in the playoffs. Better Broncos team now, but I feel better about the Bills versus a lot of other teams in the AFC as opposed to these Jaguars.
Yeah, a little niche, but the way that the market treats these, every team has a rating, right? So the Rams are rated about 7 points better than your average team. They're rated the best team in football. The Steelers are rated as like a dead average team. Their rating is like 0. I think as we go through the playoffs, the team that has the most scope to improve their rating and how the market treats them is Jacksonville. I just think this team has a ton of variance because they have been just about the best team in football over the past 2 months, but they haven't played a ton of teams. If the Jags beat the Bills and do it emphatically, all of a sudden it's like, all right, Jags are rated the best team in the AFC. Yeah. This team is, probably the favorite to get out of the AFC at that point.
Let's go to the wide receivers. Jacksonville, of course, has 3 different notable wide receivers, as you see 2 of them down the board, Jacoby Myers and Parker Washington. But, Matthew, how about Devontae Adams finally healthy? We just know the absolute touchdown merchant that he is.
Again, we keep talking about the Rams, but it's because we think they got a really good shot at the Super Bowl and they're going to play the most games. So Puka at 1, Devontae Adams at 3, multiple end zone targets each of the last 5 games he played. Over his last 8 games, 11 receiving targets. He's touchdown dependent, but he's got as good a chance at scoring as any wide receiver in the NFL because Stafford looks for him when he gets close, and we think Stafford, especially against Carolina, is going to want to pad his stats.
All right, guys, let's close out with tight end
Parker Washington
making sneaking in there,
and Nico Collins at 5.
And once again, I don't see Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah, you like the Steelers to cover. You don't think the Steelers win, though, do you?
I think that's a coin flip game.
Really?
I
think they could win.
I think that C.J. Stroud is very shaky when he's under pressure, and I think with Watt and that defensive line on Texans on the road, I think Stroud will be under pressure, and I wouldn't feel great about that. And also, what's the Texans' strength is they get after the quarterback with Anderson and Hunter and co. Rodgers gets the ball out faster than anyone anyway. He exists in a world where, I mean, it'll be a problem.
But if they get through and he's not,
I just keep thinking of the Browns game where he was like, I'm not going to be Myles Garrett. Sack record, and then I picture 2 Texans edge rushers, and he's just throwing it 3 yards at a time.
And I do think it won't work against the Texans.
That's what I'm saying.
Much better defensive backfield on the Texans than he just saw with the Ravens.
Yeah, I do think, though, that DK Metcalf is a big difference there. And
Definitely.
The first time that Rodgers played the Browns, he was much better with DK there. So
and we talked about Gainwell in the previous segment as well. But I do think a lot of dump-offs coming for Kenneth Gainwell.
Finally, the tight ends. How about Brenton Strange?
How about Brenton
Making
Strange?
this board. You know George Kittle and Dallas Goedert. Nothing surprises you there. But Brenton Strange, once again, it goes back to Jay's point, Matthew. There's a world where Jacksonville runs this thing all the way to the Super Bowl where he would hold a totally different value.
There's no question. 5 straight games with at least 1 red zone target. He's been a top 10 tight end on a points per game basis since he came back from IR in week number 12. There's not a lot at the tight end position. Stop me if you've heard that before. So I do think if you're doing a draft, reaching for Kittle is fine. again, you have to feel good about the Niners' chances of beating Philadelphia.
Right.
We think the Eagles win, but it's a football game. Anything can happen. But that's why, just because there's not a lot there at the tight end position, you have to think, like, Kittle's so talented, and there's a chance that he could play multiple games.
Which is why I would like a guy like Dallas Goedert, the guy who leads the Eagles in receiving touchdowns on a team with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. 11 touchdowns, receptions this year. They get him the ball at the goal line. They'll throw him a jet sweep just to get the cheap touchdown in there sometimes. So Dallas Goedert, and again, I actually think the Eagles will be in the Super Bowl again, so he's the type of tight end that I would target.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotorWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.